Duane swam toward midship, where a set of steep stairs invited him up to a level still inside the ship, but above the water's surface. With a couple of shakes, Duane dried himself off and began his exploring in earnest. Along the corridor were several rooms, some filled with boxes, others containing strange items he couldn't name. But sadly, none, as far as his nose could tell, had anything to do with food. At the very end of the passageway was a door, slightly ajar, with light spilling out. Also spilling out was the sound of a well-spoken voice. The voice was speaking Latin, which you may know, but Duane did not, nor do I, so I'm afraid I cannot translate.
Cogito, cogitas, cogitat.
How curious, thought Duane, making his way closer. Written on the door with beautiful flourishes in gold paint was a name, but time had faded most of the letters away, so all that remained were 2 capital C's. Duane, however, mistook them for 2 round eyes. When he pushed his snout through a gap, he was able to glimpse who was talking in that mysterious language.
Ego descite, discis et dicit.
Perched upon a wide oak table among more strange items, Duane spied a snowy owl, reading from a large open book. I would hasten to add that she was a very serious-looking owl, but I'm not sure if owls come in any other variety. "Hello," said Duane.
Rogo, rogas, rogat.
The owl paused, looking up from the book, and rotated her head toward Duane.
Who might you be?
She inquired. Here was a question never asked of Duane before. He gave it serious thought because he suspected that this was what the owl would want. Well, I might be Kevin, or Trevor, but I'd prefer to be myself, Duane.
Duane the polar bear.
Am I? Asked Duane.
Most certainly, said the owl with a curt nod. I can show you a drawing of a creature that quite resembles you, and beneath the drawing it states emphatically that you are a polar bear.
Using her wing, the owl flipped quickly through many pages of the book that sat on the table in front of her, until she stopped and pointed with her other wing. Duane ventured closer and looked over the owl's shoulder. Huh, so I am.
And will you, Duane the polar bear, be staying here?
Here? Duane looked around the room with its many bookshelves and metal objects and such. Everything looked hard and had sharp edges. Other than the back wall, which consisted of mainly windows that allowed in lots of light, it was not nap-friendly in the least. And besides, wouldn't it be an imposition? Duane felt he wasn't anything more than an uninvited guest or a well-intentioned intruder. Isn't this your home?
It wasn't at first, but it is now. I've grown fond of the library and the scientific instruments.
I'm not sure that I'd be comfortable here myself.
According to this book, you prefer living in snow caves.
According to me as well, agreed Duane, who considered himself more and more of an expert on the subject.
However, we're currently short of snow, it being summer. If you are willing to adapt, there is a rock cave not far from the beach you were about to take a nap upon. Follow me, and I'll show you.
The owl took off from the table, flew out of one of the open windows, and then upward out of sight. 2 polar bear blinks later, she returned to find Duane standing exactly where she left him.
I should have mentioned that there is a set of stairs at the far end of the corridor that leads above deck.
Ah, said Duane in understanding. When they reunited atop the broken ship, Duane had thought up a question. How did you know I was going to nap on the beach?
I used this telescope,
she said, flying over to the ship's bow and perching upon a long brass tube mounted on a tripod.
Come look through this end.
Duane did, and sure enough, there was the beach, and the delicious grass and berry bushes, as if they were close enough to nibble on. But when the owl tilted the opposite end of the telescope up a bit, Duane could see a rock cave built into a hillside behind a field.
It is a very large cave, explained the owl, big enough for a polar bear's needs, and not presently occupied.
Duane had come from somewhere else, and now he was here. But what was here? Here was an excellent cave, and here was a perfect beach, and here was a place with plenty to eat. More importantly, even to a polar bear that puts napping and eating high on his priority list, here was a snow...